I don't know about you, but the way I was taught to ride focused on the wrong things. And as a result, I didn't understand this seemingly simple idea for a long time, which in turn really hindered my development as a rider. So today, I'm gonna share with you something that took me years to figure out on my own. Because once you get this, it'll change everything about how you think about cornering on a motorcycle. Hi, my name is Dave, and I've been a professional motorcycle coach for 25 years. I taught state basic and experienced rider courses for over a decade. I'm currently a champion certified coach with Yamaha Champ School. I'm certified by the USMCA, and I've been doing racetrack instruction since 2007. So this trick is going to sound simple on the surface, but it has a few parts to it. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you're going to pick up on this a little faster. But if you're new here, we need to define a few things before we dive in. First, we're talking about corners here. Real world, real speed, twisty mountain road corners and what have you. Not parking lot circles, right? We're talking about the number one place where riders are dying. Now, I was taught that my priority for a corner, my goal was a suitable entrance speed, even though I was never really taught how to define it or how to measure it. The lesson was the only way to safely navigate a corner was to set this mythical, suitable entrance speed. This is not our goal anymore. Our goal is getting our bike pointed out of the corner. Our goal is getting our bike to the exit of every bend. The entrance serves only to get us to the exit. Again, looking at crash data and the number one place where riders are dying, we as a community aren't very good at this. We enter far more corners than we exit, right? Now, this isn't the trick. I'm gonna get to that in a second, but defining our goal makes this trick make a lot more sense. So now with our new cornering goal, let's define a few things. The first is the apex. In the context of motorcycling, the apex is where the motorcycle is closest to the inside of the corner. It's not necessarily in the middle of the bend. It's where we put it. So keep this in mind. Next is the term neutral throttle or maintenance throttle. This is simply where we are using just enough throttle to maintain our speed. If we're driving down the road at a steady speed, we're using maintenance throttle, right? Now, even though every corner is different, and as riders, we need to learn how to adjust for all the variables, the radius of the corner, which is just a fancy way of saying how big or how small a bend is, the turn-in point, the apex. When we break it down to its most base level, there's really only three kinds of corners, and we define them by where we spend most of our time. Entrance corners. Entrance corners are where we spend more time slowing into the bend. Exit corners are where we spend more time accelerating out of the corner. And balance corners are where we spend about the same amount of time slowing and accelerating. Okay, so now we're all on the same page, using the same vocabulary, we can get into this. Now, there aren't any silver bullets to improving our cornering, but this one comes close. Once we understand this concept, you'll find corners get a whole lot easier. You see, even though cornering and leaning is really fun, we actually don't want to carry a lot of lean, especially for a long time. The more lean we use, the more risk we're taking. So ultimately, what we want to try to do is reduce how much and for how long we're on the side of the tire. There is a physical place in every corner where the bike needs to be slowed down and pointed out of the corner. And the rider who can identify and then respect this part takes the least amount of risk. And if they choose, or if it's their goal, they have the option to be a whole lot faster while taking less risk. In other words, we want to be going the slowest at the physical point where we need to be leaning the most. And this is called the slowest part of the corner. Okay, neat, but here's where I always got lost in this concept. Where should this slowest part be? If the slowest part of the corner is at the entrance before we even tip in, and then we gently accelerate or even use maintenance throttle throughout the corner, then we have no other choice than to be going faster than necessary and lean more than necessary. If you're staying on the gas through the entire corner and we start to run wide, our options are to brake, oftentimes a panic brake because we're scared, or just lean more. We will be forced to lean more take more risk at the point where we need to get the bike pointed towards our exit, our primary goal, right? The slowest part of the corner instead should combine the end of our deceleration phase and our direction change. Once we get our direction change, then we can pick up the throttle in a smooth linear fashion and accelerate out of the corner or down the next straightaway. Now, the longer the corner, the longer the slowest part of the corner will be, right? A long sweeping corner, a big giant radius, for example. I would decelerate until here, and then maybe I'd go to neutral throttle, but I don't actually get pointed out of the corner until here. So in this case, the slowest part of my corner could be from here all the way until here. A sharp or maybe a 90-degree corner, a corner with a short radius, will have a short slowest part of the corner. I would decelerate until here, but I can get pointed by here. My slowest part of this corner is really short. Now this is the part I misunderstood forever. Does this mean the slowest part of the corner will be at the apex? You know the answer. It depends. Let's look at our three types of corners. An exit corner, a corner where I will be spending most of my time accelerating out of the corner. The slowest part of the corner is before the apex, sometimes well before the apex. I get the bike turned and I'm accelerating past the apex. And this is honestly the most common scenario for street riders. But let's look at an entrance corner where I'm spending most of my time slowing. The slowest part of the corner would be at or even past the apex. This isn't as common on the street. These are typically increasing radius corners like this one. The apex is actually here, but my slowest part of the corner isn't until well past the apex because this is where I'm getting the bike turned. Now, a balanced corner can be treated either way, but on this street, we typically are better off treating these like exit corners. We slow until here. At this point, I can see my exit takeaway lean angle and I can verify that it's clear, and I accelerate past my apex out of the corner. Now you might be asking, is the slowest part of the corner going to be different for different bikes? A small light Ninja 400 versus a RSV4 or even an Ultra Classic? And the answer is maybe, but not really. A small light bike typically carries more cornering speed than a bigger or a heavier bike, but both bikes still want the slowest part at roughly the same place. Okay, so then how do we measure how well we are implementing this? There's a few ways. Number one, where was our maximum lean angle? Were we going the slowest when we were leaning the most? We want to reduce our lean angle so we can reduce our risk. When we respect the slowest part of the corner, then we have the most available grip when we need to lean the most to get the bike turned towards the exit. And this is the whole point of this trick. Number two is how much neutral throttle are we using? Now, this is very radius dependent, right? Some corners we know the slowest part of the corner can be really big, but we can still look at how much neutral throttle was used and we can ask ourselves, could that have been shortened? Could we have spent less time at neutral throttle? Now, let's take this idea to some extremes to see if this trick would work when conditions aren't ideal, right? We measure how effective a technique is when it works when the grip goes down or when the pace comes up. I mean, lots of things work when we're going slow with lots of mechanical grip. We care a lot less about those kinds of techniques. So, is there value in going the slowest speed when you have to get the bike pointed out of the corner when the grip is low? Well, yeah, right. Let's say you're riding on wet grass and you need to turn. You may slow down to a walking pace so you can turn with minimal lean, right? So then we ask, does this work on the racetrack when the pace comes up? Now, years ago, a bunch of us were standing on hot pit and we were watching the other riders circle the track, and Scott Russell, Mr. Daytona, was there. And he said, I've been watching you guys, and you're all going faster mid-corner than me. Now, of course, we all felt awesome. But then he went on to say, my slowest speed is slower than yours, so I'm able to get direction quicker and I get to spend more time accelerating out of the corner, and so I'm going 40 miles an hour faster at the end of the next straightaway. Right? Now that means that the truly fast guys, the guys who really respect the slowest part, will make the slowest part as short as possible. Ben Spies, World Superbike MotoGP winner, would say that all he was trying to do was get to the slowest part of the corner as quickly as possible, get the bike turned, and then get away from the slowest part as quickly as he could. Now, when I was taught to put the slowest part of my corner before corner entrance and then gently accelerate through the corner, it implied to me that the fast guys were going faster in the corner, right? If I wanted to get faster, or if I wanted to keep up with my riding buddies, and the only way to do that was to brake harder, brake later, and then try to carry more corner speed. But that's not what the best riders in the world are doing. Now, obviously on the street, outright speed is not our goal and not what we should be emulating here, but it's pretty easy to see how at slower, real world, us mere mortal speeds, this could really be leveraged to give us more options and offer greater margins for error. I'm going slower where I'm carrying the most lean angle, therefore I'm ultimately reducing risk. I'm prioritizing my corner exit above all else. And if I want to keep up or even stay ahead of local traffic, I'm saving my acceleration and my throttle time where the risk is relatively low, after the bike has direction and down the straight bit out of the corner. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something that you can apply to your riding. And if you did, please click on like and subscribe. It really does help because it encourages the algorithm to promote us more. I would like to thank our channel members for your generous support. I've never wanted to put any of this content behind a paywall, and your support is invaluable. So please consider becoming a channel member. You can also hang out with us on our free Discord server. I pop in there as often as I can. And if you like this video, I think you're really gonna like this video as well. Until next time, ride on and ride well.